Hi folks, it's Redfez here. Today we've got a product review and we're looking at the Hyperion AVP EV33 cube case. Let's get it out of the box, let's see what it looks like. Well, here it is out of the box. This is the version in black, obviously. It is also available in white. Now it's a cube case, but it will take micro ATX. You can put ITX in it if you want, but you don't have to. And another good advantage of it, if we turn it around, is you've got space for a full ATX power supply. So you don't have to go looking around for an SFX one or a proprietary one. And of course, you have got full size PCI slots, and it will take a long graphics card because of its cube format. It's also split into two chambers. So this side of the case you put your power supply, your optical drives, your hard drives, and on this side of the case will be your motherboard, your graphics cards, etc, etc. So you've got a little bit of isolation, and this should help with cable management, should help with airflow. So in theory you can use this as a gaming case, and it is marketed as such. We're going to be using this for a standard office PC. We'll be using this as one of our swap out PCs for clients because I quite like the compact nature of it, and because it looked interesting and different, and also the case looks really smart and looks professional, which is the sort of image that we want to portray. You've got space on the back here for two 80mm fans, so one for the motherboard or graphics cards, and then one for the hard drives and power supply. Obviously you've got a hole on the back here. I think you might be able to take a 120mm, but I suspect that you might want to keep that clear so that the 120mm fan on your power supply can pull the air in and expel it. You've also got space on here for a 120. Let's just make sure it is a 120 and not anything bigger. I think it is. Yeah, that's a 120 size fan hole. So let's take the side panel off. Let's just have a quick look inside. And here we are. A fair bit of space in there actually, because you're not having to worry about hard drives, power supplies, and optical drives. Holes here for your cables to go through. We've got the usual bag of screws and things. And yep, we have two places here where again you can put a 120mm fan, but it'll take 90s or 80s as well. You could possibly even squeeze a 2x 120 rad on there perhaps, which could be interesting if you fancy kind of doing a water cooling build. Mounting here for a SSD if you want to place it on the back of the motherboard tray, and places for cables to be attached. You've got a little bit of space at the top here, and you've got the vented PCI slots here. This one at the top isn't vented, but this is a removable and replaceable one. The others, once you pop them out, they won't go back in. Motherboard standoffs already mounted. As you can see, it's compatible with USB 3, as you would expect these days. Turn it around onto the front, and here you are, front USB 3, front USB 2, power button, reset switch, and your headphone and microphone slots, or sockets should we say. Everything working on thumb screws, which is always easier and I quite like. This one is a little bit tight, but we've got it. So let me remove the side panel on the other side. And as you can see, optical drive holder, which is stealth on the front, and this particular area here, I don't know if you can see in this light, is kind of a mock carbon fibre look, if you like that kind of thing. Here Again, the light's not brilliant, but you can fit your hard drives in there, and you've even got some red brackets here which will take a 2.5-inch drive, great for an SSD. And again, this isn't tight, there's a fair bit of space, so they're making good use of the width. What I will say is, it could be a bit tight in here once we get a DVD drive in there to push the cables through, but we do have space at the top, so we'll see how that looks once we've built it. The case does feel quite light. It's not the thickest metal in the world, I'll be honest, but it does seem to be reasonably well constructed. No sharp bits, which I'm quite pleased about. Nothing worse than putting a system together and cutting your fingers. So overall, I'm quite impressed with it. I'd like to see it with some components in, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to put some components in and we'll have a look at a system in operation using this case. Okay, so we've now got a system installed in the AVP Hyperion EV33, and really impressed with the amount of space that we've got to play with. Because it's got that dual chamber design, it does mean that where we've got the motherboard here, there really is just a lot of space to play with, which means in terms of keeping the system cool, it should be a whole lot easier. Now, this is a quick and dirty cable management job. You could probably do a far better job of this than I have, because you've got plenty of options here for running your cables through. But even so, that's still a pretty neat job. Everything is out of the way, as you can see. We're just going to spin it round and you can see how it looks on the other side. This I'm probably even more impressed with because it's even pretty neat on the back side here. So here we go, a power supply in there with a 120mm fan. We'll note here that there is not a massive amount of space between the optical drive bay and the power supply unit, so you're not going to get a really big power supply in here. So anything that's quite long, and some of the higher wattage power supplies are quite rectangular in shape and have quite a bit of length to them, you're probably going to struggle in this case to get that in. That's worthwhile noting. Hard drive up here, this was a little bit fiddly. These two screws were okay, but the others, I don't know if you can see, are just in there. Okay, and not the easiest thing in the world to reach. There we go, that's focused for you. So they're a bit fiddly, but not too bad. I also noticed that there is, I don't know if you can see that on here, let's see if we can get a bit of focus there. You've also got space for a fan up here as well, so you can blow some air into this chamber. So really, for airflow, you really could get a good bit of airflow through this. So 80mm here. On the back here, you're really looking at an 80. On the back here, you've got an 80 or a 92. And then if we spin it back round, you've got 80s, 92s or 120s on here, and you could also have one on the side panel on here, and theoretically you could have one on the side panel on this side as well, though I think it'll be a little bit tight, and I would personally keep that uncovered so that the fan on the power supply can operate as it should, but you might well squeeze one in. So lots of cooling options. So as I say, I think this is a great looking case. Also looking at it from the front here, I've noticed this wasn't a stealth bay after all. It looked like it was, but it isn't, but nonetheless that still looks really good. And there's a big red light here that comes on when you switch the system on, so you can, that's your power light, you can see you've got power to the system. So the AVP Hyperion EV33. So things that not too sure about is that fiddly hard drive bay, not a lot of space between the power supply and the optical drive bay. The other thing I might want to mention is silver rivets, and it's a black case, and they're not the flushest thing in the world. So that would be a little bit of a disadvantage. That's not a deal breaker for me though, because there's a lot to like about this case. As I say, lots of space, lots of cooling options. You can get a very big graphics card in there if you want to. So you'd be able to get a gaming system in here. It looks really good. It's, you know, rivets aside, it's pretty well built. And the cost, I mean, it is cheap. It was 25 quid, as I've said, so it's not an expensive case option at all. So there's a lot to like about it. So from a Red Fez point of view, this case definitely gets a thumb up. We give it 9 out of 10, and it's a great little case, and you could do a lot worse. So thank you very much for watching this video. If you liked it, please do give it a thumbs up, and do subscribe to Red Fez for more videos. Thank you very much.